What is the model minority? Let's talk about it. The myth of the model minority is based in stereotype. It perpetuates a narrative in which Asian American children are whiz kids or musical geniuses. Within the myth of the model minority, tiger moms force children to work harder and be better than everyone else, while nerdy, effeminate dads hold prestigious but not leadership positions in STEM industries like medicine and accounting. This myth characterizes Asian Americans as a polite, law-abiding group who have achieved a higher level of success than the general population through some combination of innate talent and pull yourself up by your bootstraps immigrant striving. So what's so bad about the model minority myth? While most people agree that negative stereotypes of Asian Americans are harmful, some still question the harm of the model minority myth. What could be so bad about being part of a group that's seen as being successful? Well, the model minority myth ignores the diversity of Asian American cultures. Data from Asian American achievement typically lumps into diverse populations together into a singular group. Taken as a whole, it shows that Asian Americans tend to hold higher degrees and earn larger incomes than the general population. These successes are often attributed to differences in family attitudes towards education. From these metrics and attributions, the stereotype emerges that Asians are winning in their pursuit of the American dream. But when we break these numbers down, the myth begins to crack. Take pay disparity, for example. For every dollar the average white man makes in the US, an Indian woman makes $1.21 and a Taiwanese woman makes $1.16. A Samoan woman makes only 62 cents. A Burmese woman makes 50 cents. The experiences of these groups are not the same, as you can see. The model minority myth operates alongside the myth of Asian Americans as perpetual foreigners. It's just one of a collection of stereotypes about Asian American people. Popular televisions and films make Asian culture and people exotic. If you're a man, you're a kung fu master. If you're a woman, you're a submissive sex object. Every East or South Asian actor who has played a bit part as a humorless doctor or IT guy. Buried under these stereotypes, the message is clear. Asian Americans are all the same, and all different from other Americans. On one hand, Asian Americans are often perceived as having assimilated better than other minority groups. On the other hand, Asian Americans are seen as having some foreign quality that renders them perpetually outsiders. It's a paradox familiar to every Asian American who regularly faces the question, but where are you from originally? The model minority myth erases racism against Asian Americans. Positioning Asian Americans as beneficiaries of the bounties of the American dream, the myth of the model minority ignores the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 and Japanese internment in the 1940s. It suggests the US has always been a welcoming place for people of Asian descent, in spite of the mass lynching of Asian Americans in the 19th century and the murder of Vincent Chin in 1982. The myth persists in spite of the fact that 1 in 7 Asian immigrants in the United States today are undocumented and facing potential deportation, a fact that is repeatedly overlooked in our national conversation about immigration. The model minority myth says Asian Americans doing well today and must therefore have benefited from an elevated status among people of color, in spite of the centuries of systematic discrimination. The model minority myth is harmful to the struggle of racial justice. The myth says that Asian Americans have played within the rules of the American system to their own group benefit. The success of some groups of Asian American immigrants is often held as an example towards which other groups should strive. It suggests that Asian Americans are doing well, and if other groups would only work harder, have stronger family bonds, and get over their histories of oppression, they too would succeed. When paired with racist myths about other ethnic or racial groups, the model minority myth is used as evidence to deny or downplay the impact of racism and discrimination on people of color in the US. Given the history of that impact on Black Americans particularly, the myth is ultimately a means to perpetuate anti-Blackness. The model minority myth pits people of color against one another and creates a hierarchy in which Asian people are often represented at the top. By putting people of color in competition with one another, the myth distracts us from striving together towards liberation for all. So what are your thoughts? How do you feel about all this? If you like this video, hit that like button, consider subscribing. I talk about money and everything related to it, so don't miss out. And as always, take care of your money.